Finn's Fairy Bride. Finn and the Fianna loved hunting. This particular day they were out in the woods, and their deers picked up the scent. The hounds picked up the scent of a deer. Baying they ran through the woods. Finn and his men followed on foot. Suddenly the hounds changed their noise. Instead of yelping and baying, Finn's dogs, Bran and Shalorn, started growling and snapping. The other dogs whimpered. They came into a clearing, and there in the clearing was a strange sight. The two big dogs were guarding a hind. She lay panting on the ground, and they stopped any other dogs going near her. "Strange," said Finn. And he looked at the hind, and she looked at him, and her eyes, her eyes, and Finn felt a shiver go down his spine. The hind got her breath back, and they started off, the two big dogs guarding her, making a circle. It seemed to Finn that they were making back for his dun. The men followed. There are dogs lolloping behind, and soon enough they came upon Finn's dun. The hind went over the gate. The hounds followed, Finn and his men followed. The hind flopped down, so did the big dogs. Later that evening Finn said, "It's strange having your dinner sitting next to the hearth with the dogs." In the night Finn's dreams were weird, strange. Suddenly he sat bolt upright. There was a shaft of light, and in the light stood a beautiful young woman. "Come," she held out her hand. And she and Finn went and sat by the hearth with the dogs. And he looked at her, and the eyes, and he shivered. "Who are you?" "I am the hind you chased today. My name is Sieve. I'm of the fairy folk. I'm under a spell put on me by a magician of our people. I would not be safe until I crossed your gate into your compound. Here I will be safe if I can stay." "Yes, of course," said Finn. Well, the days turned into weeks, and Finn fell in love with this beautiful young woman. Asked her whether she would marry him. Yes, she would. And for some years they were happy, more happy than Finn had ever been in his life. But the call came from the High King to go to Tara, and off went Finn and the Fianna band. "Don't leave the compound," said Finn. "Stay inside the gate. Look after her," he said to his retainers that stayed behind. Well, Finn couldn't wait to get home after the meeting with the king. Got back to the compound. Everybody was looking at the floor. Nobody could look him in the eye. "What's the matter?" he said. "Where's my wife? Where is she?" "You came," they said. "You came with your dogs, and she saw you, and she ran outside the gate to greet you, but then it wasn't you. It was a stranger with other dogs, and he struck her with a wand and put a silver chain round her neck and led her off. We've searched and searched, but we can't find her. For days, for weeks, for months, Finn and his band searched for Sieve, but they never found her. Then one day they were out hunting, and it seemed to Finn that they went down paths that they'd been before, through woodland that he'd been before. And the dogs again were baying, again they picked up the scent, And again Bran and Skillon started to snap and snarl at the other dogs. Finn's heart went into his mouth. Rushed forward, and there in a clearing, no, not the hind, not the beautiful young woman, but a little boy, naked boy, tousled hair, tear-stained face, and the big dogs stood by him, and he had a hand on each collar, and he looked at Finn, and Finn looked down. The eyes, they were the eyes of the hind, they were the eyes of Sieve, and Finn knew that this was his son. He picked him up and took him back to the dun with him, and he called him Oisin, little dear. And as human language came to the little boy, he told his story of being with a hind who was his mother, and of a man with a cruel voice that came and spoke to her, and she cowered, and he went away. But the last time he came, he had 2 big dogs with him. He struck her with a wand, he put a silver chain round her neck and pulled her away. The boy tried to follow, but the big dogs growled and snarled, and that is where Finn had found him. But of the hind, of Sieve, the beautiful young woman, there was never any sign. But Oisin, you will hear more. He has his own tales.